Hi everyone, this is Erica.
And this is Travis.
And we used to do a podcast called T&E Theatre Factory.
Yeah, yep.
Remember that?
Yeah, we haven't done an episode since theater died because of COVID, so
yeah.
It's been, what is that now, 8 months?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the sad part is we've actually watched a fair amount of streaming things, but we just haven't bothered to do another episode.
Nope.
So, rather than that, we decided instead to do something that I know is popular, especially on YouTube, because for Christmas, one of the things that I got, and that you kind of see on the screen in front of you laid out, is one of the very handy Playbill binders. Because we have a ridiculous stack of Playbills, not just from Broadway, but from all the local shows we see and everything else, that I'm guessing you decided that it was about time we start getting them in some kind of order.
This was one of her Christmas presents this year, so...
Yeah. So anyway, I did go ahead and we filled this binder right up. In fact, we could probably use about 4 more at this point.
Yeah, the stack is huge over here. Yeah,
but we put the most important Playbills in here, and so we are going to go through and do one of the classic look at our Playbills type of YouTube videos.
Yes, and you've artfully hidden it with a Kindle.
That's right. So I guess we might as well jump in.
Okay, ready for the reveal.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I will, just in case you're morbidly curious, and if you haven't listened to our podcast, which I'm sure we'll get back to doing someday, I will put a link to it in our, whatever goes underneath us in YouTube. So if you do want a link to it, you can visit it there.
We could maybe go back and do, like, deep analysis.
Maybe. Alright. So, meaningful Playbills. Here we go.
Because we're time travelers.
Yeah, oh, by the way, these are all in chronological order, too. Yeah, so funny fact is, neither of us actually saw this.
No,
this is for the original cast of Sweeney Todd from the Uris, now the Gershwin Theater, where Wicked has been for a very long time. But if you don't know, Sweeney Todd is what I consider one of my formative shows. It was one that I was just absolutely obsessed with for several years. And so we actually found this in an antique shop in Attleboro?
I think it's
in Attleboro, Mass.
Yeah, it's
either
there or it's in Pawtucket.
Whatever. It's like right on the Rhode Island, Massachusetts border. But anyway, it's this giant store.
Yeah.
And we came across a rack of just all these assorted Playbills. And this one we found. And it is actually, I'm not going to take it out and open this because it's real a pain. But this is, in fact, for the original cast.
We
with
weren't
Angela
alive.
Lansbury, Lynn Carreyrou, all them. But yeah, it being 1979 or even 1980, we weren't born yet.
Yep, a few years away.
Yeah, so no, we did not actually see this, but nevertheless, I wanted to keep it because it's actually in pretty good condition. So that is our first Playbill. Next, another show we did not see. And this is the Playbill for the original 2-short run of the off-Broadway Assassins, which, again, if you've listened to my podcast, this is the version of Assassins that I prefer way beyond the one that came in 2004. Like, I don't even want to talk about the 2004 one because I hate it so much.
And I've only seen the modern incarnation.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway... So yeah, this, again, super formative show for my life, really. And again, if you are interested in that, listen to the podcast episode, because we actually did 2 about Assassins, and I talk about that there. But, yeah, this was another Playbill, though, from that original run. I actually got it off of eBay many years ago. So, again, not a thing we actually saw, but one that I wanted to keep. Alright, so now we're going to jump up in time, and we are going to get to shows that we actually did see. Alright, it's not Broadway, but it was a national national touring cast.
This is you.
All these words.
This is you, not me, by the way.
You didn't see this one. So this is the 1995 national tour of the Phantom of the Opera, which came to the Province Performing Arts Center for the first time ever. So... Fun fact, because I enjoy putting these fun facts in, the Providence Performing Arts Center is Providence's main huge theater. It's the theater where I used to dance. And so I was actually in that theater both before it was renovated and then after it was renovated. And they specifically renovated it so that Phantom could come there. And so this was the first time that it came around. And I don't really want to get too much more into it because this is not a therapy session.
I saw... Which one? So I didn't see this one.
Yeah.
I saw the 98?
97. It came back in 97 with a completely different cast. I actually saw that one as well. We didn't have as big of a hold on me.
We didn't know each other then yet.
No, definitely not. But yeah, so anyway, it's not Broadway, but super important to my life for many reasons. So that's that. All right, so finally we get to shows we saw together. Hooray.
Yep. 2006.
Yeah, 2006, so we'd only really been dating. I think this was December.
That was the year we started dating.
Yeah, so this is a few months. But we saw the Raul Esparza version of Company, the one where it was the John Doyle direction, so they play their instruments. And that was your first Company experience,
yeah, it was my first
think.
Experience. It was actually my first that was the first show I saw on Broadway, and my first Company experience as well. And Company, I have this, this is my short thing.
Yeah, make it quick.
Company is not bad, but I'm always like, what is the point of this? And that is where I remain today. That's my complaint.
Yeah, we have since seen several more iterations of it too.
Yes. I've heard every cast recording that was ever made.
No, you haven't heard all of them.
So that feels like
I can think of like 2 you haven't heard. But, what was I going to say? Yeah, there is actually, I should note, a playbill, like, missing in here, because the first Broadway show that I ever saw, like, actually on Broadway was 2005, and that was All Shook Up. Me and my boyfriend before you, we actually went and saw that, and I have no idea where that playbill ended up. But yeah, so this is 2006 Company, and that's enough about that. Alright, so jump forward a couple of years, and we saw Monty Python's Spamalot with Clay Aiken.
Yep. With the Clay... Who were his fans?
The Claymates. They were there in force.
I had Animaniacs in my brain. I was like, were they the Clay Maniacs or something?
No, but that wasn't on purpose, though. So, no, we actually... we saw it when we did... I mean, this was not the original cast, because this was one of those shows that had, you know, a ridiculously crazy good cast when it came out, and it was also crazy expensive, so we did not see it then, but we saw it pretty close towards the end of its run because the actor Jonathan Hadary, who played Charles Gateau in the original Assassins, was in it as King Arthur, and I wanted to see him in it, so that's why we were there. Just so happened to also be Clay Aiken's time.
Yep.
And I actually have the autographed poster, too, because it was Broadway Cares.
That's right. Is that at your office still, though? You've left
no,
it?
I never brought that one to my office. I think it's like in the closet back there.
Then, yeah.
But, yeah, so, there's that. All right.
All right.
Ready for the next one?
Let's go. Angels in America.
Angels in America. So, a lot of people have forgotten about this revival.
Yeah.
This was the one, if you can read that was at the Signature Theater, technically off Broadway. Yeah. Again, this was in their old space, because I think that since then the Signature has also renovated. But we decided to see this, again, because Jonathan Hadary was in it. Yep. I'm not a creepy stalker, but that's what happened.
Maybe.
Anyway. No, so we went to go see it because it's a good show, and I also wanted to see Angels in America. Yeah. But no, it's funny that a lot of people have forgotten about this one. I don't know that it lasted all that long.
I don't know how long it lasted.
Again, we saw it towards the end of the run, but...
It was outstanding.
Yeah, it was really good seeing it in a small space, but it's just that it's been overshadowed by the more recent revival with Andrew Garfield and Nathan Lane and all them. I think that was a lot bigger and flashier, and so it got all the accolades. Yep. I mean, I even have a book that was written about the whole story of the development of Angels in America, and they, like, gloss over this one. Yep. Which is too bad, because it was a really good version, except for one person.
Yeah, so first I'll say we saw this over 2 days. We didn't see it all in one day. We split it up like that. This remains, like, maybe my favorite play of all time as well, and this production was outstanding, but there is one person that we had a problem with that I'm sure a lot of people will be like, how could you have a problem with that? But we watched the first act, and then we went to dinner
wherever.
And we're like, it was really great except this one actor. We didn't know who he was because no one knew who he was. We're like, he just comes out and he's really flat. He's deadpan. He's not believable. You know who that actor was, everyone? It was Adam Driver playing Lewis.
Yeah.
And we were literally like, it's really good except for that guy playing Lewis. He just kind of comes out and kills the scenes he's in. And so then we're like, oh well, after we saw the second part 2, we were like, well, I will never see him again anyway. And then he ended up becoming
in everything.
An international film star. We don't think his acting is that great still. No. Sorry.
Nope. And the sad thing is, like, this had some other good people in it. It had Michael Urie was prior Walter, I am pretty sure. It had Billy Porter before he became, like, super famous in Kinky Boots, and now he's all over TV and everything, too. So, I mean, and then a bunch of people who, unfortunately, didn't really go further.
But they were spectacular.
But were really, exactly. So, I mean, it was absolutely worth seeing, Adam Driver aside. But yeah, so that was Angels in America.
I'm sure many people will be like, are you kidding me? You got to see him before he was famous? That'd be a story I'd share with everyone. And they're like, well, that's our version of it.
Yeah. All right. So then we get to one of our local companies. And so the reason why I kept this Ocean State Theater Company Into the Woods isn't even because this was a great production, because they had a lot of tech problems during this one. They had a lot of mic problems. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and also, as far as Sondheim shows go, I don't feel like Into the Woods is one of his stronger shows. It's okay. I've seen it a bunch of different times, and every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, it's alright. I actually think I'd rather just sit and watch the original cast recorded, video version than actually go out and see it again. But the reason why I kept this is because Ocean State Theater Company is unfortunately defunct. They have been for many years now. But they put on, Into the Woods aside, some excellent productions. So another playbill that we're actually missing, unfortunately, we saw a production that they did of Les Miserables, which is still one of the best productions that we've seen anywhere of any show.
Greatest production of Les Mis, and one of the greatest musicals I have seen put on anywhere. After we left that, I was like, that's like at the top of things we've seen on Broadway. It was that good.
Yeah, because we had already, I think that was probably like 2012 or 13.
Probably.
So we had already seen stuff on Broadway, and this honestly topped some of those shows. Yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of keeping this for posterity because, Ocean State Theater Company closed a few years later. Yep. Just because, it's a whole long story. Yeah. We don't need to get into it.
It's in our podcast in some episode. I don't remember which one. It's in there. Listen to them all.
Yeah, just binge them. It's great. So anyway, that's why this is here. All right. So then, the big one.
Yep. So 2016.
2016. This is when we started going to New York a lot more regularly and seeing a lot more shows there. So the rest of this, I think, is well, no, that's not true. But there's a lot more shows actually from New York in the rest of this pile. So this is from the original cast of Hamilton. Yep. Yes, we shoveled out the money to go see that. It was May 2016, so it was right at the height of their popularity. We had the good fortune of seeing everyone from the original cast except for Jonathan Groff. Yeah. He had left, I want to say, like 2 weeks before.
Literally 2 weeks before we got there.
So we did have Rory O'Malley as the king, but other than that, everyone else was there. We lucked out with not having understudies and anything like that. Yep. So, definitely an
experience.
Of the prize playbills to have. All right. Also on this trip, and we don't have the playbill for it, we also saw the Book of Mormon because the playbill we do have is hanging on our wall in our living room.
It's mounted on the wall, so.
Yeah. And in that one, let me see. No, I think by that time, I think some of the ensemble members were still original cast. This was 2016, so it was years after that show had opened.
But for Book of Mormon, we hilariously did not realize at the time that it was still selling out all the time. Mm-hmm. And we just walked in and we're like, you got 2 tickets? And they were like, yeah. They were like 4 rows from the stage, which is the closest we would ever sat before. And we looked at each other for like a couple of minutes. We're like, I don't know. Do you really want to do this? Because it was kind of expensive. And like, well, we're on vacation. Let's do it. Later we learned, like, yes.
It's like impossible to get into that show.
Wait in line outside for the,
Yeah. So anyway, so we don't have that playbill, unfortunately, but we have seen Book of Mormon as well. All right, so this is here because this was the final show that Ocean State Theater Company did.
Last one.
I wanted to see this mostly because I was writing about this play because it's in my first book, and so I was like, oh, we should go see that. And yeah, unbeknownst to us, this was their last production. And it was really unfortunate because they were supposed to do some really cool shows in their next season. They had it all planned out and everything. I think they were going to do Hairspray. They were going to do Amadeus, which I've never seen on stage. Yeah. So we were really looking forward to it, but unfortunately, it was not to be.
Nope.
All right, back to New York for the whooping cough trip.
Yeah, which was not on purpose.
No, we had no idea.
Yeah, I went to 3 emergency rooms, and I was like, "There's something really wrong with me," and they were like, "Maybe it's anxiety." Well, it was whooping cough.
Sorry, everyone. At least it wasn't the start of COVID.
Yeah.
We did not do that. But anyway, so a lot of the times when we go to New York, we have like a planned show. And that's usually the more expensive one. And then we usually end up seeing, like, just another show randomly. So Book of Mormon was the one for our 2016 trips. And Aladdin was our pickup show for 2017. Because, like, we just walked into the box office. And they were like, how much do you want to spend? And we said, and they were like, anywhere. Yep. I guess it's pretty cheap compared to most of the other shows. So I think we, again, had, were really 4th or 5th row tickets.
Yeah, it was the one where for some reason there were like multiple people videotaping themselves before the show. You remember that?
That was Aladdin?
I think it was Aladdin.
Oh,
yeah,
maybe. I don't know, but a lot of people don't like Aladdin, but we like Aladdin.
You can thank me for this because this was my favorite Disney movie as a kid, and you were too old for Disney movies when it came out. So I was like, I want to see it, but I do love it. It's a very like 1920s, 30s style Art Deco type thing going on.
Yeah, so there's that. All right, but we were actually there to see Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812.
Brought us to New York.
Yeah, and this is another one that I kind of enjoy having had the experience of seeing it, because every so often a thread pops up on like Twitter or Reddit or something that's like, you know, what show did you not get a chance to see when it was out that you wish you had seen? And without a doubt, this show comes up like all the time. So the fact that we did get a chance to see it, even though we were both feeling crappy, is great. Yep. So
and we're actually sad we didn't get to see it again, because if you don't know, Great Comet has stuff going on all around you, behind you, next to you, left, right. So we're like, oh, we'll sit somewhere else in the future and we'll see what happens over on that side. And nope, never happened. It was gone. Yeah,
this is one of those shows that we really wish we had seen twice. But in this case, it was all the craziness that happened towards the end of its run that it shut down kind of suddenly, and so we didn't get the chance. Alright, so 2018. So we decided to actually see Phantom on Broadway, and this is one, so we were already going to New York City for a conference. I was going to the Writer's Digest conference because I was going to pitch my series. And so it felt fitting to go see Phantom, because that figures in heavily. And so this was our kind of spur-of-the-moment ticket decision, except they did it before we left. Because I remember, like, it was one morning, like, a few mornings before we were going, and I think I just, like, woke you up because I was like, surprise! Like, guess what else we're seeing on our trip? So, yeah, I mean, it was fine. I don't really know what else to say about it. Yeah.
I think, was this the one though where you thought the Phantom was played a little bit like creepy? That was the only thing.
I mean, again, we have an entire episode.
Yeah, we have a whole episode about it.
But yeah, I didn't. Again, I don't want to get too far into it because this will be super
it's
long.
In the podcast. Go listen to the Phantom of the Opera episode.
Yeah, and then you'll understand. But so that was the first show that we saw on our trip, but we were actually there to see Come From Away. Yes. And this is still, it's an excellent show. Yep. And again, the fun part with this is that even though this was technically from the 2017 season, and this was 2018, most of the original cast was still there.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed they stayed so long.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, most of the original cast is still there, technically speaking.
Technically, we'll see if they come back when COVID's over. But.
Yeah, so, so that was really great, and it's still a good show, so I would still recommend seeing it. Alright, then, later that year, I think we went back in December to see Puffs.
Is that how? Yeah.
Yeah, because this is August, so then... I don't even know how I learned about Puffs. That's the funny thing.
No.
But So it's basically, if you don't know, and we're not even like super Harry Potter fans or anything, but this is like the tale, like the Harry Potter books told from the point of view of the Hufflepuffs, who are usually seen as like the dumb people, you know, at Hogwarts.
Yep.
And it's just, yeah, again, I don't really know how I heard about it, but I got a Broadway HD subscription, and it's on there, and it's still on there. And I think we just ended up watching it, like, on a whim.
Well, it's on Amazon Prime.
Well, it is, too, but I think we watched it on Broadway HD.
Okay. Yeah.
And it ended up just being really funny. So we decided that we wanted to go see it because it was still playing at New World Stages.
Yeah.
And so this is... We've seen this twice, but we saved this one in here because this still had most of the original cast in it. There were a few exceptions, but they were still good. So yeah, that's Puffs.
Yeah, you don't have to be a big Harry Potter fan. Like I've only seen the movies. I think if you've seen a couple of the movies,
I feel like it helps if you at least have seen the movies. Yeah, because it'd be
completely like you wouldn't know anything if you didn't see any of the movies. But it's just funny in its own right. So.
Yeah, and just ignore J.K. Rowling, just because she sucks. But the show's good. All right, so then we transition to some of the stuff we've seen in Providence, the national tours. So Cats. So I've seen this show 3 times in my life, but we saw it twice because I was reviewing it for Broadway World, and then we just had the season tickets, and we like Cats.
Yeah, I mean, for what it is, right? You don't go to Cats. The funny thing was, like, I feel like half the people around us, Cats has been around since, 1982? So, like, you should know about Cats, like what you're supposed to be, I think half the people around us, like, walked out during intermission, and it's like, if you go to Cats going, like, they're going to be, like, really, dancing, singing cats. They do that well for what it is. I think people still seem surprised by, like, what is this? And they all left. I'm like, how did you not know about this?
Yeah, so go listen to that episode, too, because we definitely have a long one on that. All right, so Cats was one of the better shows that we actually saw this year. Because then there's a large gap. So this was January of 2019, and then the next one that was worth noting was in June of 2019. We saw The Band's Visit. This is the year that we had a lot of crap, though.
Yeah.
The ones that had to be sitting there as we were leaving one night after a show that I will not name, like, I'm not sure I actually like musical theater, or it's just that I like particular musicals. So, yeah.
Yeah, this was the year where I think during multiple intermissions,
you were having,
I was having like an
breakdowns.
Existential crisis because I was like, this is so bad. I can't deal with it. Just skip that for now. This was good, though. We like Band's Visit.
Yep. So that was the next one for that year. And then we had the good fortune of seeing Hamilton again, the tour.
The tour.
Yeah. Yep, and I think that this might have... I didn't check before I put this in here. This might have been the one that had the dance captain who I just had the class with.
Oh, yeah, I think it was.
I didn't check.
Yeah, because that's the Angelica tour.
Yeah, pretty sure.
So, yeah, we saw the dance captain. Yeah, we did the
Yeah, because I just took a class to learn some of the choreography from the room where it happens. You did part of it.
Yeah,
so
I did part of it, and I am not a dancer, so...
But, yeah, it was really fun, and I was very sore for many days. But, so that was Hamilton the second time, and the tour was just as good. Again, we have an episode for it, so go back and find it. Alright, then, back to Broadway for Little Do We Know would be the last time.
Reverse. Oklahoma.
Yep. Yep, we saw Sexy Oklahoma.
Yep, and the thing is like, neither of us like the original production of Oklahoma. We've tried to watch it, we've got bored of it, but this version changes things up. Doesn't change the music, or the story. Wow. It just changes the staging. Really, it's the staging and some of the inflection in some of the songs. And that is enough to make it a completely different musical. And I now love this version. I don't think it's anywhere to be that anybody can watch it, unfortunately.
No.
It was supposed to go on tour, but that...
yeah, I was supposed to review it in March when it came on tour to PPAC, but that's not happening.
Right, and that was a chance to see it. Although this is another one where one of the things they do is they leave the lights on the whole show.
I want them to do that in our theater, though, because it's going to be chaotic.
Right, so we wondered...
It's going to be, like, so chaotic.
It was like in the round in New York, so we wondered, how are they going to do that? in our massive, gigantic theater or any giant theater.
People are probably going to like go up to the ushers if they
turn
do
the lights
that and
off.
be like, what's wrong with the lights?
Yeah, it's like an Andy Kaufman bit where he's like, I want the TV to go fuzzy so people hit their TV. Like,
So I hope we do get the tour eventually and that I get the chance to review it because I want to see it again. But this is another show, though, where it's like we wish we had seen it one more time.
Yeah,
because also the day that we were there, several people were out, including Ali Stroker, who we really wanted to see
Ali Stroker.
And just a couple of other people were out that day too.
It closed in January of this year, if I'm not mistaken. And we had a moment where like, is it insane to spend the money to go back? And we were like, yes, but now I wish we had.
Yeah, because we had no idea that this was one of the last shows we'd be seeing, kind of.
Yep.
So anyway, that was Oklahoma in August of last year. All right, so then we are back in Providence, and Aladdin came around again.
Yep, and we saw it twice in Providence.
Yep, because I reviewed it, and then we saw it.
Season tickets we had, and then you were a reviewer for it. So.
Yep, so that was Aladdin.
Yep.
And then Come From Away came back, too, so we have that. Okay, and then Moby-Dick. So this was Dave Malloy's, one of his next shows. I think he did Octet between these? I could be wrong, but... Anyway, this is another Dave Malloy show who did Great Comet, and this was the first time that it was staged. And so this was like our year of Moby-Dick, because this was the year that we read the book, the both of us, and then also like the month later we were at the Moby-Dick marathon.
Yep, we did the 24-hour readathon where you read...
you did.
Yeah,
I get to sit there and watch.
I got to read a couple of chapters, but... we did that because of this, though, right? Like we knew this was coming, and we're like, we're gonna read the book. The readathon we didn't know that was a surprise. We did that, but then it was like we were ready, so we knew the story. Mm-hmm. It is a long story.
Yeah, I'd say. But yeah, so this, again, we have an episode. I hate to keep saying that, but it's true, because we don't want to make this 10 hours long, and we do have actual full-length episodes describing most of these shows.
Yeah, but it's really inventive. I mean...
Yeah, it's a Dave Malloy show, for sure, with the different, ways of staging things, with the different music styles, the non-conventional casting of all the roles.
Yep.
It's definitely a show in progress. Like, I have no doubt. So we just watched recently, not really interviews, but he was talking with Rachel Chapkin about things that were on the back burner. And he didn't say outright that this is one of them, but I have heard him or read him saying that, they are certainly going to be working on it before it comes out again. But I definitely hope that it ends up on Broadway someday. Yeah. Because there is a good show in there. It just needs some tweaking.
There's some elements, but, hey, he's throwing things at a wall. Like, what works? If a few things are changed, a couple things removed, it would be an outstanding show. It's so inventive.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're lucky we get to see that when it was at A.R.T. in Cambridge, right near Boston, so...
Yep, nearing the end of time here now.
Yeah, and so with that actually does bring us to one of the shows we saw literally, like, the weekend before everything closed this year.
Yeah, it was like COVID was already known, but we were like... Nobody knew what extent it was. They had put hand sanitizer out in the theater, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so we saw the national tour of Hello, Dolly with... what can I think? Carolee Carmello in the title role, and we saw that it was a crazy weekend. We saw this, and we saw a production of Assassins locally, and it was at the point where like people knew that this virus was like out there, and they did have hand sanitizer around, but we still weren't at the point of wearing masks. I mean, none of that. Like there was no social distancing.
Yep.
Because it really was, like, no joke, like, the week before things got shut down.
Week before, they were like, work from home,
Yeah, so, anyway, so right now, this is the last thing in our booklet, but, again, we actually do have tons of other shows that we have seen, just, these are the ones that I think are the most significant right now.
And the last entry would be, I think, that Assassins. I think we saw Hello, Dolly, then Assassins.
Yeah.
And Assassins was literally like 3 days before the shutdown or something like that.
Well, I mean, these were the same weekend.
Oh, they were the same weekend. Yeah. Okay.
So,
well, yeah.
Right. But anyway, so that's our walk through our Playbill memories.
Yep.
I hope that you have enjoyed this. And... If you want to hear us blather about more stuff, maybe we'll do this instead of the podcast.
Yeah, we could always do YouTube videos. That's what all the kids are doing, so.
That's right, I'm going to start streaming on Twitch. I'm going to do my own Moby-Dick marathon, because I never get picked, New Bedford Whaling Museum. You never pick me.
People are going to turn into that Twitch stream. They're going to tune into this Twitch stream and be like, what is this?
I'm going to read a chapter a day. And you're all going to have to deal with it.
They're going to learn a lot of incorrect whale facts, because that is...
Yeah.
The book has a lot of exposition about other things.
Whales are fish.
Yep, he was completely convinced that whales were fish. He's like, everybody says they're mammals. Guess what? They're fish. And then he goes to explain why for like 20 pages.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what we're going to do next, but if you watch, thank you for watching.
Yep.
Go listen to some of our podcasts, and see you around.
Yep.